What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the first trailer for College Football 25. It's been 10 years since we've had a college football game come out. We're all excited, a little nervous about it. You know, this is an EA game, but either way, this trailer's pretty neat. It got some really cool stuff in it. No real gameplay footage, but what we're going to do is look at the trailer at normal speed, and then I'm going to break down some details that I noticed I thought was pretty cool. And then after that, we're going to look at some gameplay information that's really going to pique some interest. At least it did for me. So let's go ahead and watch the trailer. It looks really pretty. You're going to tell real quick the traditions and pageantry, they really nailed this, at least from the cinematics. Names on the back of the jerseys, incredible. Who would have thought that was ever going to happen?
Finally, it is here. You can take all that just another game stuff and throw it out.
Pretty slick.
On this field today, and that's what these players live for.
Again, I'm just assuming these will be true entrances, not something else more dumbed down for the actual game. Wake Forest, Wisconsin, USC. They got bands out on the field. White out of Penn State. Baylor, Notre Dame. All that looks really good. Duke and Wyoming got a lot of love in this trailer. App State. Nice little juke there. Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. Quinn Ewers, Heisman frontrunner, possibly, maybe, we'll see. Little rocket toss out of Flexbone. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. They got turnover things. We're going to talk about that. Of course, they got to throw their Alabama stuff in there. But it all looks really slick. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it looks really good. But again, this is not actual gameplay footage. Okay, yeah, so that was pretty cool. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back, and we're going to look at this at a little slower speed so I can look at some different things just in a little bit more detail. So let's go back here. I'm going to go right here, and I'm just going to kind of notice a few things. Again, this is Boise State. Their blue field, their turf. Excellent looking. Howard's Rock at Clemson. Again, I'm assuming this is all going to be real footage in terms of for team entrances and stuff. Like you could just see right here for Boston College. I assume Boston College is an Adidas school. I assume they have all of that correct in terms of their, whoever's with Adidas or Nike, as you can see right here. Just really slick and just a really cool reveal of actual last names on the back of the uniforms. I mean, we've come a long way from us having to manually type in a lot of that stuff. So it's just really cool to see that as well. The Gator head, and there is, I should have went back and looked. That was Graham Mertz back there, their quarterback for Florida. Winbar for LSU. Looks pretty cool. And then we just got in some more entrances and such. I can go ahead and skip some of this. So like right here is where I was going to get to. So we got Texas coming out of the tunnel. I thought they showed a lot of love for Wyoming here. I thought this was really cool. It's just incredible. I just thought if they're going to do this much for Wyoming, imagine what they're going to do for some of your favorite teams, especially in the bigger conferences. Just really neat. More Clemson going down the hill. Also, I actually wanted to just point right here. So look at the different player sizes. Now, this should already be in the game anyways, but I just thought a lot of the player sizes and shapes were just really detailed. Like, look at this big offensive lineman. Look at the big wide butt, just broad everything compared to somebody like defensive backs. Forgive me if I don't know the Clemson roster really well. But anyway, I just thought that was a lot of good detail there. Good sunset. I'm curious to see how the day and nighttime cycle is going to work in this game. You see right here, I think this is actual gameplay footage. They're not going to show it. I mean, maybe it was just at the very beginning of the video for that Boise State montage that they didn't have actual gameplay footage. But I think this is real gameplay footage because you see here with the scoreboard on the bottom right. I think this is the real deal, and it looks pretty slick. Home of the 12th man with A&M. You got Bevo, Texas, and LSU, just really slick. Then you got Wake Forest on the motorcycle. We're going to see that a little bit later with Oregon. Again, more names on the back of the jersey, just a kind of a big deal. I like that. Of course, with USC, looks pretty cool. You know, it all looks really neat. I'm really excited about this right here. And we're going to see something here in the game play information, or at least when it comes to game modes. You notice who's on the sideline. A lot of support staff. I'm going to talk about a new possible addition they're adding to this thing, but just kind of pay attention to, it looks like it's the same 5 people over and over again, but I think they're going to add some new things to Dynasty mode that we're going to talk about. But anyway, another thing is I like the bands out in the field. I'm a big Tennessee fan. I hope I see the Power T open up and everything. Whiteout, maybe the best entrance in college football outside of Tennessee's. No offense to Penn State fans out there, but this is really cool. They actually have a whiteout. So it makes me wonder if they are going to have whiteouts for just like the big home games that season, like if Ohio State's coming into town or Michigan or whoever. I wonder how the game's going to select if they're going to do a whiteout. Do you get to select that as the coach? Hey, I want to do a whiteout game for this particular home game or whatnot. Either way, it's just fun to think about. Really neat here. You have rain. Look at the detail on the helmets and whatnot. We'll see how crisp it is once you actually play a game. Really good look here. Here's another thing I wanted to point out. Notice how we have different face masks. Now, this is nothing new. We've had different face masks in games for years. But I just kind of noticed each one of these guys had like a different face mask. So, nice little touch. And then what I said earlier with Boston College, they're an Adidas team. Apparently, Penn State's a Nike team. So, it's cool that they put at least that much detail into it. I noticed a couple of different gloves as well. Again, that's really new. We've been able to do that in games over the years. Baylor, this is their new field. Now, their stadium has been here for, 7 or 8 years? It may be longer or less. I'm not really sure. Anyway, really slick. Again, they got bands out on the field. That encourages me to think that they're going to have the Power T at Tennessee entrance. Notre Dame, more Clemson. And you got Texas A&M. Is that who that was? I think it was. Oklahoma Sooners, really cool. Duke Blue Devils, getting a little love there. More Wyoming. Of course, this actually is a game against App State, if you notice by right here. This is the same footage from the same game. Little juke. Pretty cool. Ohio State getting pummeled on that one. Syracuse, just really slick here. In the Carrier Dome, you see, if I can get some like just the grass and whatnot, just looks really slick. Little spin move there. Now, here's another cool thing. I don't know if you noticed. I'm trying to go back right here. Notice this is Florida State and Cal. This is a new ACC conference matchup, which is still very goofy. Don't get me started on that. But I thought that was an interesting little tidbit there that they have both of them. So here's another really cool thing. This is a really cool tradition. Any Iowa fans out there know of this, and I assume every Big Ten fan knows of it. Of course, this is the Children's Hospital right beside Iowa's stadium, and that's one of the traditions they wave to the kids at the hospital in the windows. I just thought that was a really cool touch. Well, it's in this game, so that's pretty neat. More Penn State, Wisconsin, all that, looks pretty cool. Quinn Ewers. Again, like I said earlier, probably a Heisman front runner. It looks nice. Okay, so this is going to be a new thing, I guess. So whenever there are turnovers, certain teams have turnover celebrations. Alabama has the wrestling belt. That's pretty cool. We're going to see later that Pitt has a little basketball rim that they can dunk on. Gator Chomp. Okay, then this is really cool. This is where we get into the schematics of things, like right here. Now, this is Army. They run Flexbone. They've actually backed off of Flexbone this past year. They've done a little more shotgun. But this looks like true Flexbone stuff, and this is Rocket Toss. So for those of you who are worried about not having much Flexbone in this game, there should be at least some of it. At least one team playbook, whether it's going to be Army, Air Force, Navy will still run it some. It's still going to be in the game. If not, that's just cruelty to us if they don't put it in. But there is true Rocket Toss right there. So I'm going to guess that it's in the game. I'm going to show Georgia there. Smoky. I have to show this. I'm a big Vol fan, but really cool looking there. They looks like they're in the south end zone. I want to see if they have the new big screen on the north end zone. I'm sure they do. But anyway, that looks really good. Oregon motorcycle. So here is that turnover dunk rim right there. So whenever there is a turnover, that's what they do. So I'm curious to see of some other traditions on the turnover front for some of these other teams. Arkansas. Now we're going to get into some SEC and Alabama play. I actually want to go back. I got to show you one thing with Pitt. I noticed one thing in particular right here. Notice, so we got players wearing jerseys differently. Did you notice? Some have them tucked in. Some of them do not. Some of them have their jerseys tucked underneath their pads and whatnot where it shows their stomach. I think that's interesting. Is that going to be in the game? I think it will. That'd be really cool. Now, this you won't see really here, but this guy's wearing like one of those back jackets as well. So again, I think that's just pretty cool. You just notice right here as well, this guy's wearing something on the back. I'm not really sure what that is. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Again, I just thought that was really cool. So I'm going to skip ahead to right here. So we'll just see what happens. It should be really good. You know, nice little part of right over here with Alabama, Jalen Milroe. I'm curious to see how he'll do with Kalen DeBoer's offense. I'm sure he'll do fine. DeBoer's pretty good at what he does. But it all looks, you know, pretty nice. Another cover athlete. They showed a couple of them right there. UCLA, Ohio State, Illinois, more Tennessee. It just keeps on going, so on and so forth. It just all looks really neat. So it gets you pumped up. At least it should. I'm still trying to hold out and try to reserve my emotions on some of this. But what I want to get into now is I want to talk about some of the other things they revealed. And this is way more important. So this is like their little newsletter where they're going to bring out updates and whatnot. Now, we just saw this trailer, but I'm going to come down here. It says, in EA Sports College Football 25, you'll experience explosive gameplay with Campus IQ across 134 schools. This tells me that they will not have the FCS schools in there, but technically they will, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But this is just a summary of kind of what all they do. But let's go down here to this Campus IQ. So immerse yourself in authentic, fast-paced college football gameplay with Campus IQ. It mentions that decision-making with all new composure system. Of course, we had that in 06. Player wear and tear. If you might have played the old college or the old NFL head coach games, NFL head coach and the 09 one, that is in there. So it looks like there's going to be more detailed roster management in terms of people getting injured and tired and whatnot. Screen shaking home field advantages. Of course, that's been in past games before. So they're going to implement pretty much something similar there. And this is another thing. It says, in dozens of diverse play styles across the 134 FBS teams. So I read on a tweet where they said every single team has their own unique way to play. I'm going to say that it's not. I think it's going to be more around this area. There's only so many ways to run the same spread offenses over and over again. Now, each team's going to have its own different playbook and whatnot. But either way, it's going to be pretty cool there. Now, let's go down here. Wide open, fast gameplay. This is really nothing too crazy. This is just, strategic, fast gameplay depth for true depth of college football. Nothing big there. So here's more of that wear and tear. As the hits add up, players wear down, manage your players' health, limit fatigue, assessing injuries and on-the-field mistakes. Again, this isn't revolutionary. I don't think it is. Again, a lot of this stuff was in the PS2 games. Pre-snap recognition. This kind of piques my interest a little bit. Pre-snap recognition makes the decision behind every snap matter more. Do you trust in your high-skill seniors or take a risk with untested freshmen? I think we've kind of seen some of that before, but they may add some new wrinkles to this. You just never know. All right, home field advantage. This is going to go back to the shaky screen, missing player icons, moving player art. That's going to be pretty cool. That's going to be more useful. Okay, they're really honing in on football traditions, having that real home field advantage. So road games should be tougher, and part of that is going to be this little stuff right here. So that's pretty neat. All right, iconic atmospheres. We've talked about the pageantry traditions. We saw every bit of that in that trailer. The bulk of that trailer was pretty much all that stuff right there. Commentary broadcast, I thought this was interesting. I think a lot of your bigger games is going to go to Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, and the normal games will be Reese Davis, Palmer, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock. So it makes me wonder, will every game be talked about? Will each one of these have these guys in there in every single game, or are you going to have some like non-televised games? So I'm curious to see how all that's going to work out. But anyway, they got two separate crews doing the play-by-play. So that's pretty neat. And we got some screenshots and whatnot. This is from, at least some of them from the trailer. You come over here. Let's see. So this is that play calling or the play recognition stuff. I'm curious to see if they're going to get into real detail here in terms of like how to read plays. I just don't know what to expect there. But the rest of that, it's just, we saw this before. This is one of the first images they showed earlier, about a few weeks ago. Travis Hunter, of course, he's a cover athlete. And this is one of the really nicer ones with USC and UCLA, now in the Big Ten, again, which makes no sense. All right, game modes. Let's get to the real good stuff. So we got a few game modes, starting off with Dynasty. Of course, you create a coach, you take control, upgrade their abilities. So it sounds like the NCAA 14 RPG level stuff is going to be in there. That's kind of the way I read that. Establish your coaching staff. This intrigues me right here. Am I going to be able to literally hire a staff? Can I hire a linebackers coach, an offensive line coach, things of that nature? It sounds like we can, which is cool. Then recruit the best talent straight from high school or direct from the transfer portal. So I wonder how they're going to handle this. I'm going to guess like when you're in the off season, instead of seeing JUCOs, you're going to see transfer portal kids. That's my guess, but we'll see. Take your team to the next level in online dynasty. So for those of you who like to do the online dynasty, you can have up to 32 players do that. I was never a big fan of that. I'm more of an offline dynasty, but if I have a few close friends that want to run a dynasty with me, by all means, I'm willing to do that. So that'd be another cool thing that we can do on this channel. We'll just see if I actually want to get into some of that. Either way, that sounds like a pretty cool idea. All right, Road to Glory. So it sounds like it's no different than what we've seen before, but, life as a student athlete, you're a creative player and take home the Heisman as you build up unforgettable college football legacy, blah, blah, blah. Manage your weekly schedule, GPA, your image, earn coach trust to get more playing time, or use transfer portal to get the time and glory you deserve. So 2 things here. One is I hope this is not written down by microtransactions. If it is not, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Like, people don't really know this, but I love the my player type modes. I used to play my career / my player in NBA 2K13 and those older games so much. I loved them to death. But now with the later games, they throw these microtransactions on you, and it's just no fun. I just don't want to pay to do any of that. I want to earn it, to get my player to be better and whatnot. But as long as they don't have this just loaded down with microtransactions, I think I'm going to enjoy this, and I'd love to do some series with this particular mode. So we'll see if they do that or not. College Football Ultimate Team. Now, I do know this is going to be loaded down with microtransactions. We all know this. I'm not the biggest fan of this mode. It's just not the way I enjoy to do things. But what I thought was interesting where it says play solo challenges or head-to-head seasons to upgrade your squad. So I'm just curious. Again, I'm not a big online player, but if you're into the Ultimate Team and collecting cards and players, it's going to be in there for you if you like it. They got 2 different modes here, apparently. One is Ultimate Team Champs, and one is Champs Gauntlet. When I first saw the word Gauntlet, I was thinking like Mortal Kombat, like the ladder mode, where you had to keep going up and try to beat everybody. That may be the same thing. We'll see. Okay, so Road to the College Football Playoff. This is interesting. Experience a new way to play competitively across consoles and Road to College Football Playoff. Will you represent your university or take over a school? To me, the whole thing sounds like it's a single season mode. That's kind of what I get that. Stack wins to earn a chance to make into playoffs and take home national championship. I think that's what that is. And I'm hoping it's still not a microtransaction-based thing. We'll see if it is, but I hope it's not. One thing I have noticed, they really haven't mentioned anything about microtransactions in any of this stuff, but we'll see. So this was probably the biggest surprise of the day, is Team Builder. I was actually shocked they was going to have something like this, to be honest, but now it's coming back. So create your own college football program, customization tools on Team Builder website, design uniforms, helmets, fields, update your own logo or upload it. You can then upload your program to use in Play Now and Dynasty. Yay! So I got a few ideas of mine already. I actually went to 2 different high schools. I may create both of those. I got all of my degrees came from 2 different colleges. I may create those as well. It's just really cool that you can do that. And everybody knows I've created several creative schools in 06 for some people in the past. So this would be cool. I'm glad they're bringing this back. It would be like really bad if they didn't. And it says Team Builder content can be used in offline Play Now and private Dynasty modes. And I assume it would have. Internet connection is required, blah, blah, blah. So all that's just really cool. Now you go over here to pre-order. I'm just going to look at some of their options. Starting off, you got the MVP bundle, deluxe, and standard edition. For me, I'm going to just back out of here just a little bit. So for me, I'm only going to get the deluxe or the standard. I don't care about Madden. Madden's just not a good game to me. That's just my opinion. It's up to you how you want to play. But you can save a little bit, I guess, if you go with the MVP bundle. For me, it'll probably be deluxe or standard. The only big difference for me is, as you see right here, what's crossed out for standard. 3-day early access, and if you want these extra football points, to me, that sounds like microtransactions. But the 3-day early access, for me running a channel, I may end up doing that. Now, do I want to pay an extra $30 for that? I'm going to say probably not. But we'll see what happens with all that. But anyway, most of this is Ultimate Team extras that I don't care about. But some of you out there will really enjoy that kind of thing. So it's just up to you kind of which way you want to roll. I'm definitely going to pre-order. I might as well go ahead and do that. I just need to decide which one I want to go with. It'll be one of those two. But either way, all this looks really cool. The trailer looked neat. I wish we would see more gameplay footage. I think we will in the next few weeks. We're going to get into more detail about Dynasty and Road to Glory. I want to see the game in action, but I also want to see playbook related things. I don't know if they'll ever get to that type of detail before the game comes out, but I could be wrong. I hope they do. Give me something more to get excited about. We'll see. All right. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll talk to you later.